And I also, I really want to talk a lot about what you're doing now and transitioning and the wonderful things that you're performing and you're coaching and you're helping folks with voice lessons, and you're a wonderful special needs mom, which is so precious. Aiden is an absolute jewel of a young man. But I want you to tell folks, you told me this one time and it stuck in my head. What is a typical day like for a Broadway? You were a star. I mean, you are a star. But what was your day like? Give me the rundown. And I can quote it back to you. But I want you to tell everybody, because I've never forgotten. This cat is back. Honest to goodness. But please,
well, my dog's right there.
This kitty wants to be on Broadway.
Nowadays we mostly audition via where we record our own, and we'll do classes with casting directors similarly to this, a Zoom class, and they all appreciate and love when we say, oh, my dog has been so good this whole time, and now she's and they everybody understands. This of course started when we were shut down. We were all kind of at home, and so it's understanding, as long as Aiden is at school right now, so at least he's a little quiet. So a typical day, I guess, in New York was different than on the road. I may have told you when I was on tour. So I might go to the gym. I usually did try to go to the gym nearly every day, except for maybe on 2 show days and sometimes on 2 show days, just to get the body. You have to stay in shape, obviously, your stamina. You're doing 8 shows a week. Not only are you singing, but there's dance, but they're also in the Majestic Theater. We had 8 flights of stairs to climb sometimes, and sometimes you're climbing those stairs with a 40-pound costume on, so you had to stay in the gym. Or stay going to the gym, whatever you do for yourself, to keep yourself stress-free. I would still have a lesson or a coaching, and also work on music that was not from the show, because like any person who is a cross trainer, you get used to certain things. Yeah. If all you do is yoga, or all you do is spin class, you need to do other things. So the same thing with your voice. I would work on other music, other things with my teacher or my coach. So I might have a lesson. And then we also had rehearsals quite a bit. That's why that show stuck around for so long, because they made sure the show was in shape. And, if you're an understudy, or if there is an understudy that needs to rehearse with you, there's a new person coming in, but they also rehearsed every week. And sometimes not as much when I was playing Christine all the time, but sometimes I would have rehearsals at least 3 days a week, at least, plus doing 8 shows. Whoa. So we weren't just there 2.5 hours. A lot of people think that you just show up, you just roll out, get there at 7:30 and then you're done at 10:30 and that was your day. That is not your day. You're doing all kinds of things to maintain your, and it's very difficult, I have to say, when you're a parent. So I have not been in an 8 show a week schedule as a parent, but I just recently did a show. I just closed a show.
I saw that on Facebook.
Yes, it was about an hour away from here. So I also had the commute and had to have a babysitter, and didn't get to tuck my son into bed. He wasn't used to that. I didn't get to do that every night. So that was different. And I just thought, boy, my colleagues who had to do that on top of 8 shows a week, it's a grind. It's definitely a grind. It's not digging ditches, and it's not, there are a lot of hard jobs out there in the universe, but I think it's a lot more than people think it is.
Well, this is just my personal question. What would you do, Kimilee, if you felt the dreaded dripping of the sinuses and the sore throat coming on? That had to strike fear in you as a performer.
Yes. I have it right now, and just a little congestion, probably the change of weather. It turned really cold up here in the upstate. And in fact, I was caroling. We'll talk about that later. I was conducting and caroling with my group, our theater company, on Saturday. So that probably didn't help. But I had it the first week we opened the show I just did. The show was called 110 in the Shade. Beautiful, beautiful music from that show. Great role. Oh my gosh, what a great role that I had the opportunity to do. Lots of herbal tea and honey. Local honey is the best. Lemon. And okay, you're going to love this. Here's what I did at night sometimes. a little bourbon, a little bourbon to help keep
Bring
that
it
cough.
on.
That's right. And Mucinex.
Mhm.
Mucinex is a good one. The Sudafed's not so great. Don't take ibuprofen, take Tylenol, which you're also told if you're having some sort of surgery. So ibuprofen, if you're not singing, if you've got, you know, sore muscles or something, if you're not singing. So those are kind of the things that I would do. Rest. But you're right.
Mhm.
It's sort of like, oh no. And also the good thing about a Broadway company or a national tour or anything that's a more professional company is that they're always understudies and covers. That's not always
Yeah.
the case when you're a local show. And so you kind of have to get through it, or they have to cancel. And so they
Oh,
rarely will cancel anything on Broadway or a national tour or something, because they're always very adequate, more than adequate. I should say. I was one of them at some point. They're very talented covers.
yeah.
So the show always goes on. So
On
you
and
can
on.
take a break. That is a good thing to know when you are sick. You don't have to go. You can stay home and
Yeah.
get well. You know, and
Yeah.
we
Thank
had
goodness.
so many sick days built into our contract. You would accrue one a month. And so I wouldn't take one a month. I would save them up in case I really got sick, you know. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the way that